The Special Operations Forces Combat Assault Rifle is a modular rifle made by FN Herstal for the United States Special Operations Command to satisfy the requirements of the SCAR competition. This family of rifles consists of two main types. The SCAR L, for light, is chambered in the 5.56A, 45mm NATO cartridge, and the SCAR H, for heavy, fires 7.62A, 51mm NATO. Both are available in long barrel and close quarters combat variants. The FN SCAR systems completed low-rate initial production testing in June 2007. After some delays, the first rifles began being issued to operational units in April 2009, and a battalion of the U.S. 75th Ranger Regiment was the first large unit deployed into combat with 600 of the rifles in 2009. The U.S. Special Operations Command has currently cancelled their purchase of the Mk16 SCAR L and are planning to remove the rifle from their inventory by 2013. However, they will purchase the Mk17 SCAR H version, and also plan to purchase 5.56 ohm conversion kits for the Mk17, supplanting the loss of the Mk16. The SCAR was one of the competing weapons in the Individual Carbine competition, which aimed to find a replacement for the M4 Carbine. Overview. The SCAR is manufactured in two main versions: light and heavy. The L version fires 5.56A, 45mm NATO using improved Stanag magazines. The H fires the more powerful 7.62A, 51mm NATO from a newly designed 20-round magazine. Different length barrels will be available for close quarters battle and for longer range engagements. The initial solicitation indicated that the SCAR H would also be chambered for the 7.62A, 39mm M43 Kalashnikov cartridge and 6.8A, 43mm Remington SPC cartridge. However, FN is not currently offering other calibers. The Mk16 Mod 0 was intended to replace the M4A1, the Mk18 CQB and the Mk12 SP are currently in SOCOM service, before SOCOM decided to cancel the order for the Mk16 Mod 0. The Mk17 Mod 0 will replace the M14 and Mk11 sniper rifles. However, the weapon will only supplement other weapons while issuing remains at the operator's decision. The Mk20 sniper support rifle is based on the 7.62mm Mk17 rifle. It includes a longer receiver, a beefed-up barrel extension and barrel profile to reduce whip and improve accuracy, and an enhanced modular trigger that can be configured for single-stage or two-stage operation together with a non-folding precision stock. The SCAR has two receivers, the lower is constructed of polymer, and the upper receiver is one piece and constructed of aluminum. The SCAR features an integral, uninterrupted Picatinny rail on the top of the aluminium receiver, two removable side rails and a bottom one that can mount any MILS TD 1913 compliant accessories. It has a polymer lower receiver with an M16 compatible pistol grip, flared magazine well, and raised area around magazine and bolt release buttons. The front sight flips down for unobstructed use of optics and accessories. The rifle uses a tappet type of closed gas system much like the M1 carbine, while the bolt carrier otherwise resembles the Stoner 63 or Heckler & Koch G36. The SCAR is built at the FN Manufacturing, LLC plant in Columbia, South Carolina, in the United States. Since 2008, FN Herstal offers semi-automatic versions of the SCAR rifles for commercial and law enforcement use. These are dubbed the 16S and 17S, and are manufactured in Herstal, Belgium and imported by FNH USA, Fredericksburg, Virginia, United States. FNH USA slightly modifies the rifles to be in compliance with U.S. code before selling them. HERM-IAR, in 2008, a variant of the FN SCAR the Heat Adaptive Modular Rifle was one of 4 finalist rifles for the Infantry Automatic Rifle competition. The IAR was a United States Marine Corps requirement for a lightweight automatic rifle for squad automatic rifle use. The FN entry was different from existing SCAR versions in that it combined closed bolt operation with open bolt operation, switching automatically from closed to open bolt as the weapon's barrel heats up during firing. There have been previous firearms with mixed open-closed bolt operation, but the automatic temperature-based operating mode switch is an innovation. The IAR competition was expected to result in Marine Corps procurement of up to 6,500 automatic rifles over 5 years, but eventually the SCAR variant was passed over in favor of the Heckler & Koch HK416 rifle, later designated as the M27. FNAC, a variant of the SCAR, was entered into the Army's Individual Carbine competition, known as the FNAC. The weapon is similar to the SCAR Mk16 Mod 0 but with modifications including a .3 lb weight reduction resulting in a loaded weight of 7.95 lb, a bayonet lug for an M9 bayonet, a rail-mounted folding front iron sight instead of the gas block-mounted sight, and a non-reciprocating charging handle. The competition was cancelled before a winner was chosen. Enhanced Grenade Launching Module. Introduced in 2004 as an addition, the Enhanced Grenade Launching Module, officially referred to as the FN40GL, or Mk13 Mod 0, is a 40-ohm grenade launcher based on the GL1 designed for the F2000. The FN40GL is marketed in both an L and H model, for fitting the appropriate SCAR variant. The EGLM system features a double-action trigger and a swing-out chamber. These offer two advantages over the M203 system, the first being that the launcher does not need to be recocked if the grenade does not fire, and the latter being that longer grenades can be used. Like the M203, the FN40GL uses the same high-low propulsion system. The FN40GL is deemed a third-generation grenade launcher, meaning it is multifunctional. It can be used mounted to the rifle or as a standalone system. It is manufactured using a number of materials like aluminum, composites, and polymers. The breech opens to the side for use of longer 40-ohm rounds including less lethal. And it is mounted on the bottom accessory rail instead of requiring specialized mounting hardware. The FN40GL is attached to SCAR rifles on the bottom rail with a trigger adapter and dual locking clamp levers on the launcher, limiting the ability to integrate with other rifles. Barrel length is 9.6 in, and is unique in that it is the only system where the barrel can swivel to the left or right for loading, while other breech-loading launchers pivot specifically to one side. This enhances its ambidextrousness, making it easy for a left-handed operator to load under fire. The standalone stock assembly has the FN40GL mounted to the bottom rail as with the rifle, but still has 30 Euro unregistered trademark clock, 60 Euro unregistered trademark clock, and 90 Euro unregistered trademark clock rail positions for other accessories. This is mainly during non-lethal uses for other mounted additions like LED lights and laser dazzlers. The trigger is placed lower than normal for operation with the user's middle finger, while keeping their trigger finger free to use the rifle. The double-action trigger is long and heavy to prevent easily and unintentionally firing a round under stress. Evolution. In July 2007, the U.S. Army announced a limited competition between the M4 Carbine, FN SCAR, HK416, and the previously shelved HKXM8. 10 examples of each of the four competitors were involved. During the testing, 6,000 rounds apiece were fired from each of the carbines in an extreme dust environment. The purpose of the shoot-off was to assess future needs, not to select a replacement for the M4. During the test, the SCAR suffered 226 stoppages. Since a percentage of each weapon's stoppages were caused by magazine failures, the FN SCAR, XM8 and HK416 performed statistically similarly. The FN SCAR ranked second to the XM8 with 127 stoppages, but with fewer stoppages compared to the M4 with 882 stoppages and the HK416 with 233. This test was based on two previous systems assessments that were conducted using the M4 Carbine and M16 rifle at Aberdeen Proving Ground in 2006 and the summer of 2007 before the third limited competition in the fall of 2007. The 2006 test focused only on the M4 and M16. The summer 2007 test had only the M4, but increased lubrication. Results from the second test resulted in a total of 307 stoppages for the M4 after lubrication was increased, but did not explain why the M4 suffered 882 stoppages with that same level of lubrication in the third test. The SCAR was one of the weapons displayed to U.S. Army officials during an invitation-only Industry Day on November 13, 2008. The goal of the Industry Day was to review current carbine technology for any situation prior to writing formal requirements for a future replacement for the M4 Carbine. Acceptance. The SCAR was selected in 2004 out of the Special Operations Forces Combat Assault Rifle Program. The Mk-16, Mk-17, and Mk-13 were officially designated as operationally effective, operationally suitable, and sustainable as a result of a 5-week field user assessment conducted by operational SOCOM forces in late 2008. These SCAR variants began fielding in April 2009. On May 4, 2010, a press release on FNH USA's official website announced the SCAR acquisition decision memorandum was finalized on April 14, 2010, moving the SCAR program to the Milestone C phase. This was an approval for the entire weapons family of the Mk-16 SCAR Light, Mk-17 SCAR Heavy, and the Enhanced Grenade Launcher Module. In late October 2010, SOCOM approved full-rate production of the Mk-20 Sniper variant of the SCAR, with fielding beginning in mid-May 2011. Purchase. On January 23, 2004, US SOCOM issued a request for proposal for solicitation USZA 22-04R0001. The following amounts were projected for procurement: 2, Mk-16 cancellation, Mk-17 preference. On June 25, 2010, SOCOM announced that it was cancelling the acquisition of the Mk-16 citing limited funds and a lack of enough of a performance difference in another 5.56mm rifle to justify the purchase. Remaining funds would be expended for the Mk-17 7.62A, 51mm version and the Mk-20 Sniper variant. At the time, SOCOM had bought 850 Mk-16s and 750 Mk-17s. SOCOM had operators turn in their Mk-16s and is not keeping them in the inventory, but started developing a conversion kit for the Mk-17 to make it capable of firing 5.56mm rounds. FNH USA believes the issue is not whether the SCAR, and specifically the originally contracted Mk-16 variant, is the superior weapon system available today. It has already been proven to be just that. Recently passing Milestone C and determined to be operationally effective/operationally suitable for fielding. The issue is whether or not the requirement for a 5.56mm replacement outweighs the numerous other requirements competing for the customer's unregistered trademark limited budget. That is a question that will only be determined by the customer. FN Herstal though had refuted that the Mk-16 was being dropped from the inventory and stated that the 5.56mm variant will be retained by SOCOM, and that the choice between the 5.56 and the 7.62 caliber will be left to the discretion of each constitutive component of SOCOM's Joint Command depending on their specific missions on today's battlefield. FNH USA's claim contradicted the official announcement from SOCOM and they did not reverse their decision. SOCOM decided to procure the 7.62mm Mk-17 rifle, the 40mm Mk-13 grenade launcher, and the 7.62mm Mk-20 sniper support rifle variants of the Special Operations Forces combat assault rifle manufactured by FN. SOCOM would not purchase the 5.56mm Mk-16. At that point the individual service component commands within SOCOM would or would not still buy the 5.56mm Mk-16 SCAR for some or all of their respective subordinate units, even with overall U.S. Special Operations Command opting not to. SOCOM began removing the Mk-16 from their inventory at the end of 2011, and most units will have the rifle completely out of their service by the end of 2013. To maintain the SCAR as a small-caliber weapon, they are procuring conversion kits for the Mk-17 battle rifle to make it fire 5.56mm rounds. The pre-solicitation for the SCAR program originally called for one rifle that could be adapted to fire multiple calibers including 5.56 mm, 7.62 mm, and 7.62A, 39 mm. When requirements were finalized, the decision was made to separate the 5.56 mm and 7.62 mm weapons into two platforms because converting the medium caliber platform to fire small caliber bullets created an assault rifle heavier than the M4 Carbine. After fielding, operators reversed the previous decision and called for a SCAR platform that could change calibers. The Mk17 was chosen to be scaled down because it had a larger receiver for the 7.62 mm round, and so the 5.56 mm Mk16 could not be scaled up to chamber the larger round. The 5.56 conversion kit was finalized in late 2010 and orders began in mid-2011. On December 9, 2011, the Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane Division released a sole source 5-year IDIQ procurement notice for the Mk16 Mod 0, Mk17 Mod 0, Mk20 Mod 0, and Mk13 Mod 0 from FN to sustain inventory levels. Navy Special Operations Forces procures their firearms through SOCOM and fielded the Mk16 more than any other unit. Variants, military. SCAR LMK16 Mod 0 a Euro 5.56 mm NATO assault rifle, Mk16 CQC a Euro 10-inch barrel, Mk16 Standard a Euro 14-inch barrel, Mk16 pounds a Euro 18-inch barrel. SCAR HMK17 Mod 0 a Euro 7.62 mm NATO battle rifle, Mk17 CQC a Euro 13-inch barrel, Mk17 Standard a Euro 16-inch barrel, Mk17 pounds a Euro 20-inch barrel. SCAR LMK16 PDW a Euro 5.56 mm NATO personal defense weapon, sniper support rifle Mk20 Mod 0 a Euro 7.62 mm NATO sniper rifle, experimental, HAMRIAR a Euro automatic rifle entered in the United States Marine Corps Infantry Automatic Rifle Competition. It was eventually beaten by the M27 Infantry Automatic Rifle, a Heckler & Koch HK416 variant. FNAC a Euro 5.56 NATO assault rifle entered into the U.S. Army Individual Carbine competition. The competition was cancelled before a winning weapon was chosen. Commercial. SCAR 16SA Euro Civilian 5.56 mm semi-automatic version. Offered in matte black or flat dark earth color. SCAR 17SA Euro Civilian 7.62 mm semi-automatic version. Offered in matte black or flat dark earth color. Users. See also, Heckler & Koch HK416, List of battle rifles, references. External links. Official website a Euro SCAR L, official website a Euro SCAR H, official website a Euro FNH USA, FNH Firearms blog.